I don't know whether you'll be able to hear me now. If you do, then I do apologise for that. I've just sorted out my settings. I don't know whether you'll be able to hear me. So yeah, I'm just on the stream now and you lot can hear me now. So I've just wasted 5 minutes of my life just trying to go through the table. Do I want to do it again? The tables aren't in order because of Hellboy being a lazy fuck, so I just want to apologise for that. I'll try and maybe get him to put them in order next week because I'll just going through the table now. And to summarise, I'll go for like the top 5. Mohammed is leading on 68 points. Then we have, I do believe, Louis in second with 44 points. Then we have JD in third with 42 points. Then we have Hellboy and Lickle both on 38 points. And then we have Big Gatti on 30 points. And then we have Barry on 26 points. Darren on 18 points. And then I do believe everyone else has got a couple points. So that's the drivers. I mean, I'll try and get them in order for next race, but in terms of constructors, Mercedes and Ferrari and Toro Rosso are all well within 10 points of each other. Mercedes currently leads with 91 points, and then we have Toro Rosso 82 points, and then Ferrari on 80 points. Much further down we have Renault and Red Bull. Renault on 48 points and Red Bull on 45 points. Then we have McLaren on 34, Sauber on 10, Haas with 2, and Williams and Force India yet to score. So obviously those who are watching obviously are those who are must be racing, or you know, if you're new here you can see on the left side who's in the league. And obviously we've had some newcomers. We've got Skeven, I do believe, in Williams. He's joined a couple of days ago now. We now have Maxi Luca, who again is also very quick. He's in the Force India, I do believe, so he's going to be chuffed with that. And then we have Danto as well in, he's in Red Bull. So he's actually replaced me because I did used to race in this league but chose to commentate because of the close racing that has been seen in the last couple of races. So I just thought it had to be commentated on. But nonetheless, it's qualifying and it is just me commentating, so I'm sorry if I take sort of breaks during the race or even during quali, because obviously me talking for the next hour and a half isn't exactly good for me. But we're just seeing a couple cars now on their outlaps warming up the tyres. Let's go on board with JD. I do believe he is on a lap. Let's just have a quick look. And yeah, he's on max and going for it. So let's just quickly hide all this and let's go on board with Jake for his lap and see what he can set. Comes into turn 1, slight look up, but I do believe that's just a visual glitch. Sort of wide entry into turn, I do believe turn 3, but you know, I'd sort of class it as turn 2. Very close to the curb. Again, slight look up, but again, that's just a visual glitch as we know with F1 games. Let's see what he sets. Sector 1. Let's see if it's any good so far. Well, I don't really know, but Jake, oh no, that's Hellboy, sorry, my bad. So going back on board with Jake. Again, slight look up. I don't know whether he's got invalid or not because I switched to Hellboy, so I'm an idiot. But again, lap looks pretty clean from Jake. I believe he's just sort of setting a bank at this point. As we all know, Russia on strict corner cutting can be good, as Dobby sets the fastest time, but Bugatti absolutely smashes it in 33.5. No doubt them times will keep coming down as we've still got the likes of Louis, Max, Skeven, Jake who I'm on board with now 2 set a lap, so no doubt the times will be coming in as Louis actually matches Bugatti's time. So I don't know if Louis might have made a mistake or not, but I mean, Bugatti looking very competitive at the moment as there's cars ahead of Jake who are going to hold him up. Barry there. Oh, that's going to hold Jake up a little bit. He ain't going to be too impressed with that, and he sets a 33.8. So there's still time in that lap for Jake. So that's a very good lap from Jake. So you know that he will improve as Hellboy. Lee Garner goes fifth. So Hellboy setting a good lap, and Dan actually hit the wall there. Let's quickly go on board with Dan. I don't know what happened to Dan there. I think he might have lost the back end coming out of turn 3. And just slammed it into the wall. That's unlucky for him, but it looks like the game's actually fixed his front wing. So yeah, I mean he might be able to carry on, might be able to improve. I don't know, he hasn't set a lap yet. so we will see. But in terms of times, everyone's sort of set a time, and it looks pretty close at the top between Bugatti, Louis, Lickle, Jake, and even Hellboy, to be fair. So the top 5 separated by no more than 6/10, as we've got Mohammed down in 6th, championship leader down in 6th place. So it might be a weak track for him, I don't know, but he's shown some incredible pace. More noticeably at the start of the season in Silverstone, he absolutely wrecked everyone, to be fair. He won by at least, I think, 10 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So keep an eye on him, because he may still throw up a few surprises, as we've got Dobby and Bad Boy coming into the pits. Bad Boy I'm a bit surprised about as well. He's shown some very good pace recently. I do believe he got 2nd place in quali at Mexico, but unfortunately retired. So no doubt he'll be able to improve. Skeven as well, obviously league debut, as we've got Memo there, completely disregarding the white line. So no doubt Skeven will be back out. I will definitely improve his time, as someone else has just gone quicker, I do believe. So yeah, Mohammed's now set a 33.9, but I think he'll have one more chance to go around again, pit, and come out again. But the top 3 are in the pit waiting to come out, as I do believe Jake's run out of fuel, so he'll definitely have enough time to do another run, as Mohammed is now trying to get back to the pits to try and have another run. As we all know, Russia can be very harsh in terms of invalidating laps, even on lap laps. If you get this next lap invalid, you're pretty much screwed. So no doubt you'll be seeing a lot of drivers go very easy on their out laps. Not so much in laps, because if you was to get that on your in lap, it wouldn't really matter. But I do believe now, I think is the time in qualifying where it gets a bit boring, because Max still got the likes of Max Luca not even setting a time yet. So whether Max has actually tried to set the time but just couldn't, I don't know. But no doubt he'll be out and he will improve. I mean he can still even get pole here, so don't count Max out yet. Again, even like the likes of Bad Boy, Skeven, they can all improve. Even Hellboy. I mean, Hellboy at times has shown great pace, but I'm actually very surprised at Bugatti's pace. I'm not sure whether Louis might have messed up his lap, or might have got just his back end kicked out a little bit. But we're going to see as we come into the last 4 minutes of qualifying. We have Bugatti on an outlap and Dobby on an outlap. Let's just quickly see what people have set. So yeah, everyone are not surprised, but yeah, I mean, again, this is a time in quality where everyone's on their outlaps or in the pit still. So I think the people who are coming out now are going for 2 runs. They're not as confident, but with the likes of, I mean, Memo, Danto, Clifford Red and Max, excuse me, you got to feel that they're going to need 2 runs just to maybe set a lap, because one mess up and you're starting at the back. I'm not saying starting at the back is necessarily bad, because it's not, but it just means you can get caught up in other people's dramas up ahead, which is prone to Russia, as we all know how tight turn 1 and 2 is. So yeah, I mean, again, everyone now is coming out and rushing out the pits. So I'm just going to quickly, while we wait for people to start their laps, I'm going to go on board with the pulse here at the moment. Bugatti, who I do believe is going to be the first person to cross the line and set a lap. Let's hope he can improve and potentially get his first pole of the season, I'm going to say. So yeah, as he comes down, technically that's turn 1, but again, we don't really class that as turn 1, but comes down to a real turn 1, braking hard, slight invalidations. Dobby lags out. I don't know whether Bugatti would have got invalid for that. I don't think he did, because he's still going hammer and tongs at it, and that looked like a slight invalidation in my opinion, but it looks like he's carrying on. So no doubt he will be gunning for an improvement, as Louis actually letting someone pass. So yeah, all eyes on Bugatti still, as he will set. He's backed out, so he must have got invalid. That's unfortunate for Bugatti. So we'll come off him and we'll go to the man in second place, the guy who I predicted at the start of the stream to get pole, Louis W03. He has incredible pace around here. I've done a league race with him and he actually managed to hold me up. So Yeah, so I'm looking at Louis for pole here, but I mean, as I said before, you can still get the likes of Lickle and Jake putting in some superb laps. I mean, Jake, as we know, got held up in the last sector, so we still got at least, I'd say, 3 to 4 attempts, so he could still get pole here. But I don't know if Louis might have got invalid on his lap. Let's just see what his sector 1 is. You'll see on the steering wheel whether he is up on his time, and I do believe he is not. So I'm looking at the chat now. Hello Racer, how you doing, man? Hope you're alright. And Wesker has no setup, which is unfortunate. So yeah, so it's just everyone saying about me not talking earlier. So we will go back to the action now. Both Toro Rossos now on their laps. I do believe Louis might have had an invalidation, I'm not sure. So he's on Rich, so he's going for another lap because he must have got invalid. What about Little Blocks? Is he on the lap? Yeah, he's still going at it, but he went wide there, so I don't think that's I think that's an invalidation from him, as Jake retires. So I don't know whether Jake got invalid and knew he wouldn't be able to set another lap. If that is the case, that's unfortunate for him, but remember what I said earlier, keep an eye on the likes of Max, and Memo actually goes pole with a 33.2. I did not expect that from him, as we're on board with Max, who hasn't actually set a valid lap yet. So let's hope he can throw a few spanner in the works and potentially get his first pole position in his first race. I do believe he has the pace to get pole position, but it's whether he can convert that, as he's looking very clean and tidy. As Skeven goes up to second, I said about Skeven as well. So Skeven putting it on second place in his debut in FF1. That's an incredible achievement for him. But as I said, we've still got the likes of Louis, Bugatti, Lickle's finish. So Lickle didn't actually improve. Mohammed retired. So that's, I mean, championship leader, 7th place. That's not good at all. Clifford Red still setting a time. Hellboy as well. I mean, Hellboy looks like he's up by about a 10th. So if he can still improve. Max finishes and goes 10th. So, you know, Max is, you know, one run and getting 10th. You can't really complain at that. Further down the field, we've still got Barry on the lap, Bad Boy on the lap. Bad Boy's still on the lap, so he could still improve. Wesker as well. Don't count Wesker out either. Wesker's shown at times that he's got good pace as well. As Barry comes across the line and doesn't improve. As we now go to Louis, he's up on his lap by just a tenth and a half. Could be more now. As he comes through this third sector, it's, I'd say personally, his best sector, as Jake now gets put down to 7th place, as Hellboy goes up to 5th, so that's good job from Hellboy there. As we look to Louis now, Skiven's actually on another lap, so Skiven could still have pole here. As Louis comes around the last corner, is it pole? Is it not? And it's not. 33.5 from Louis there, so Skiven now actually has a really good chance of getting pole here if he can convert the last corner. I don't know whether he's up or not. Comes around the last corner. Is it pole? I don't think it is. No, it's P2 for Skeven, so a very interesting qualifying there. Not who I thought would not who I thought would get pole. I thought Louis was going to get pole by an absolute mile, but we have Memo first, Skeven on his debut in 2nd place. That's very good from him. Bugatti in 3rd, Louis all the way down in 4th. I'm actually surprised at that. Hellboy in 5th, Lickle in 6th, Jake in 7th, Mohammed championship leader in 8th, Bad Boy in 9th, and Clifford's Red rounds up the top 10 with Maxilu Cardan in 11th place. Quite shocking really, and just, you know, the usual Mark Lyo didn't actually set a time low, so I don't know whether he just couldn't, yeah, he just said in the chat he couldn't even set a lap, so that's unfortunate for him. So he's going to get disqualified in the race, so that should be fun to see. Yeah, he's very quick racer. And hello, Kingdom Martin, I do see you in the chat. And I do believe FaZe was in the chat as well, so hello FaZe. Oh, I had to skip that, didn't I? Oh, wet race. Oh, that's going to mix things up. Definitely. Wow. So, I mean, I didn't expect that. I thought it was a dry race, but we've got a wet race here in Russia. I don't know whether it will be mixed conditions or not. We will find out, as the notorious Big C has joined the chat. Hello Big C, how you doing, man? Wasn't expecting to see you here. But yeah, waiting now. I do believe formation lap is off. Yeah, it's off, so we're actually going to go straight to... No, I do apologise. It is formation lap. as Lewis has said, wet to dry, so that's interesting to know. It is intermediates as well. It's not full wets, which is good. I mean, some drivers might be running a wet setup, who knows. But let's quickly go through the field while we have the formation lap on. We have Memo with an impressive first place, Skeven in second and his debut in FF1, so that's very, very good from him. Then we have Bugatti in third, Louis in fourth, who I thought had pole in the bag before the race even started. Hellboy with a very good fifth place. Nickel in sixth, who I thought he'd definitely get top three in my opinion. Jake as well. I thought Jake at one point was on for pole, but unfortunately he just couldn't convert his lap. Then we have Mohammed in eighth, championship leader, so he's got a lot of work to do from eighth place. Then we have Bad Boy in ninth, Clifford Red in 10th, and then we have Maxi Luca in 11th. So watch out for him, because Max is notorious for starting down the field and able to make up places somehow in the first couple laps, so no doubt Max will be aiming for a top, I'd say top 5 finish easy. Then we have Darren in 12th, Dobby in 13th, Barry in 14th, Wesco in 15th, Mark in 16th, Dan in 17th, who is the debut as well, who is actually replacing me. Then we have Leo in 18th and Lewis in last, who is a reserve, I do believe. So yeah, and yeah, big see, I agree, see how Hellboy and Skeven get on, because I do believe they're F1 candidates for next season in PSGL. But as you see, that I mean, I don't see the point of having formation lap, because that just happens. People just don't take it seriously, as you saw with Jake, Nickel and Hellboy both being reset to the grid. I don't think Bugatti was involved in that, but we will wait for Skeven to line up on the grid and the rest of the cars. We have 19 people, so a very good turnout for a league that's not long started. So yeah, just waiting for the lights out now, waiting for the cars to line up on the grid. If everyone in the chat could write who they want to win, or who they think will do, well, top 3 in the chat, if people could, if they wouldn't mind. But we are going to go at 2 lights out in any second now, as I get on board with Memo, so he can get a very good start. All eyes on Skeven as well, because this is his debut, so he'll be looking to impress, and he has already by getting that second place as we go to 5 red lights. Memo on pole, Skeven in second, lights out, and it looks like Memo's got a very good start. Skeven as well, top 3 look like they've got a very clean start. Looks very clean so far, but as we know, turn 1 is very tight in the dry. What's it going to be like in the rain? As Louis makes up. Oh, and there's a big crash. Lyo's out. Wow. So Lyo, Mark, all out by not even turn 1, and Memo still keeps the lead. Skeven in second. Louis is now up into third. Bugatti is now fourth, but he's got Jake and Toro Rosso all over him. I do believe that is Louis actually. So yeah, Louis going very wide, and he's got. That's Jake, and then you got Hellboy there as well. 2 Ferraris getting very close. Now these guys are teammates, so they're going to want to be very careful, as I do believe Jake and Hellboy go side by side. Now I know both these two are not going to want to give up the place anytime soon, so who's going to let I do believe Hellboy's gone through, so Hellboy is the lead Ferrari now, as we go with Skeven, who's actually fallen behind to Memo by just under a second. So Memo in these Inter's conditions showing that he has the pace, but don't count out Bugatti or Louis or even Hellboy, who looks like he's actually harassing Louis' back end. Has quickly gone on board with Hellboy, so you can see how bad the conditions are in the race. You see JD, his teammate behind, as Hellboy lifts off early to not go into the back of him. And JD there getting very close to Hellboy there. Hellboy being very cautious, but JD not really. I mean, I know he runs on ABS, so he's going to be braking a lot later, so yeah, it should be very good. And Skeven is actually right up to the back of Memo now, so this third sector definitely agrees with Skeven. So let's hope he has the straight line speed to potentially make a move into turn 1. And you'll see Bugatti there as well in third, not far behind, and Louis as well. So the top 5 not even separated by a couple seconds. Let's hope Skeven has the pace. Let's go on board with Skeven and hope he has a straight line speed to make the move on Memo, but I do believe Memo is running slightly lower wings, and you'll see Skeven just can't catch in a straight line, as we know DRS is off for this race. So let's hope Skeven can maybe potentially make a move down into in the third sector, as we go back to Bugatti and Louis, and Skeeven looks like he's going to go round the outside of Memo, but it looks like he's always going for the dive bomb. Skeeven backs out of it, and Memo does leave him the space, but Memo, that has cost Memo the exit, and Skeeven is now side by side. As Skeeven goes down the inside, they touch, a little bit of contact, but I do believe Skeeven has got the move done. They're still side by side, but I think Skeeven has just got past. Yes, he has. So Skeeven has taken the lead of the Russian Grand Prix. Very good move from Skeeven. And Memo actually lost the back end and collected Bugatti. I don't know whether Bugatti has wing damage or not, but that's unfortunate for Bugatti. He's showing great pace. So, yeah, I mean, Bugatti just found. I feel like with Bugatti, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. So he'll no doubt want to get through the likes of Jake, Hellboy, and be on the back of Louis again. As Skeever now starting to get away, and Dan's out. Don't know, I think Dan's just given up. I think Dan might have had contact into turn 1 and pit, and Wesker's out as well. So same with Wesker. So we've lost 4 drivers in the space of 2 laps. It could be worse, as I do believe Dobby has lagged out. So. I mean, Max looks like Max has lost a couple of positions as well, and now he's got, who's that? That's Darren, and I do believe Max is pitting, so I do believe Max had wing damage, and Darren and Lewis get very close. So I do apologise, it's all happening. I don't know where to keep my eye. So Max is actually pitted, so I don't know whether Max has wing damage, so he's had contact with someone on the last lap, and he's go behind 2 Clippers red on Barry, who looks like he's actually going to make the move, but Barry's lagging a little bit on my screen. I don't know whether that's the stream or not, but Barry's running very good straight line speed, as Dan in the chat is very upset with his early retirement. I would be as well if it's my debut, but anyway, let's go to the front, and Skeeven has actually got a 1.8 second lead, so Skeeven feeling these conditions are really suiting him, and Louis is right behind Memo. Is Louis going to go? Oh, there's Hellboy from out of nowhere. Wow, Hellboy takes out himself and Memo, and that gives Louis second place and Jake third. That's terrible from Hellboy in my opinion. That is a very bad move. I mean, you're behind, he was behind Louis, and then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere. So no doubt Memo will want to get back past these cars and potentially challenge Skeeven again, but that has just gifted Louis second place and Jake third place and Bugatti fourth place. So Bugatti's actually gotten very lucky from, well, I say lucky, but from his little thing with Memo earlier, as we see Hellboy back down into 6th. So I mean, Hellboy goes for another dive bomb. This time it's a little bit more composed, but Memo shuts the door and keeps him out now, for now. But as we know, Hellboy does like a little bit of a dive bomb, as we saw just a minute ago. But going back up to the front, Skeeven now 2.6 second lead with everything that's happened behind him. So I mean, Skeeven isn't going to complain about this at all. He knows Louis quick. So 2.6 second lead by the end of lap 3, very good, and Skeeven does set the fastest lap. But don't forget about JD. He's in 3rd place. He's right behind Louis. Let's hope he can make the move into turn 1. I do believe that's Lickle overtaking Memo. It is. And now Lickle is right behind Hellboy. We know these two have a little bit of history from past races. So is Lickle going to go for a dive bomb, or is he just going to stay composed? He stays composed. But I do believe that's Memo down his inside. It is. And Memo, they touch, but very clean from Memo. And he does actually get the move done around the outside, maybe. It's going to be very, very, very tight. And he does actually get the move done. A little bit of a scram from the back end, but he does get the move done. But Lickle's coming back at him, and there's still a fight behind, as I do believe that was Bad Boy losing the back end. But Lickle does go through on Memo. So very good racing from these two, and the two behind. I do believe it's Bad Boy and Mohammed. But you can see there's just cars everywhere. We've got Lewis to Lickle, all within at least a second of each other, and it looks like Bad Boy is starting to be the leader of the trainers. Mohammed down in 9th as he goes down the inside of Bad Boy. Oh, very, very close, but they do stay side by side. But that's now going to cost Mohammed, and that is now Darren's position for the taking. Don't forget Lewis behind, he's in 11th. He's not that far behind these two either, as I do believe Mohammed is going to, no, he actually doesn't. So although these guys are within 2-3 tenths of each other, as we know, DRS is off. So obviously it just makes it harder for an overtake. But as we got back up to the front, Bugatti right behind Jake, and Jake's actually dropped off the back of Louis. So whether the track's starting to dry up or not, I don't know, but Bugatti's looking very pacey in these conditions compared to the likes of Jake, as Skeven sets another fastest lap. So Skeven's showing his early race pace here, and it's doing him good as he's still got a gap to 2.6 as we go on board with Bugatti to see if he can close the gap down the straight. No DRS, remember, just slipstream. So let's hope he closes in braking, but just can't get close enough to Jake. So Jake's obviously running a lower wing setup, and I do believe that's Lewis going through on Darren is, and that's, who was that? That was Barry going very wide into turn 1. I don't know who'll get a warning for that. But oh yeah, so Max is the first person to get a 3-second penalty. I mean, credit to him for carrying on. I mean, if I was him, I don't think I would have just retired. But going back up to the action, Bugatti still all over the back of Jake, but just can't find a way past. Let's hope when it goes dry, Bugatti looks down the inside of the fast right-hander, but dangerous place to go for a move even in the dry, as Skeven gets a 3-second penalty. So that could be the difference tonight. Time penalties, I didn't really say much to them in qualifying, but as we know, time penalties could be the difference between winning and losing this race, as Bugatti's all over the back of Jake now. Can Bugatti make the move on Jake as we go on board with Bugatti now? At the start he got very unlucky with Memo losing the back end, but managed to keep it out the wall. But Jake, look at Jake's straight line speed, just manages to breeze away from him on the straight. So Jake is definitely running a dry setup in my opinion, as Jake still can't really catch Louis. But I mean, the gap between Skeven and Louis has actually gone up a little bit, so Skeven is actually very, very good in these conditions. So fair play to Skeven at the minute. He's done everything right off the line and just running away with it at the minute. But I don't count Louis out. Louis can easily bring down that 3-second gap in the next couple laps. As I mean, Bugatti again all over the back of Jake, but look how Jake just gets away. It's quite ridiculous really. So Jake is definitely running. Jake's still getting away from his seat as. So Jake definitely running them lower wings is definitely helping him stay in front of Bugatti. But again, Hellboy is actually catching up to this little battle. So don't count Hellboy out, even Lickle to be fair, because if these guys all bunch up, that'll definitely help the likes of Louis and even Skeven get more of a lead. So yeah, I mean, the first 6 laps have been very, very, very interesting, as Lewis gets a time penalty there, and Bugatti's still all over the back of Jake, and Hellboy is actually catching these guys. So whether Jake is actually holding up Bugatti on purpose, so Hellboy has a chance to catch up, I don't know. I know all of these guys are in the party together, as I'm in that party too, but I have them all muted, so no doubt they will be conspiring with each other and talking. But let's go on board with Hellboy. Let's see how this battle conspires, as we see now Hellboy managing to catch up by more than half a second this lap alone. So let's see, Hellboy actually running very, very much lower wings than Bugatti. Is Hellboy going to go for it? He does. Very composed this time, as we saw earlier. A little bit of a touch, but nothing too serious, and Bugatti does well to defend the outside and keep their position, as we see Lewis there making moves and Bad Boy losing them. So he's lost 2 positions now, and looks like he's about to lose one too with Darren, but Bad Boy is still there. All very close but no contact, and Darren gets through. So very good clean races from these guys. As I said at the start, these guys have shown in the last couple of races that you can race very, very clean, and it'd be very fast and competitive, as you can see by, you know, from excluding Skeven and maybe Louis and Jake, you know, Bugatti, Hellboy, you know, all within a couple seconds of each other. So this is definitely going to get interesting, as I'm looking at the chat and Racer says man in second will win, then dries up. I think, well, obviously you wouldn't have heard of much of Skeven, and I know Skeven is very quick in both wet and dry conditions. Hellboy looks like he lost the back end but manages to keep it. So Hellboy's going to have to be very careful, because not only will he have to look forward, he'll have to look back, because Lickle is joining this battle. And as we know, all 4 of these guys who are within a second of each other have been known to have a bit of drama together on track. So no doubt I'll be keeping a sharp eye on that when in gaps closed. But Bugatti still just can't find a way past Jake, as he almost goes for a move down the far to the tender. Jake has actually got a really bad exit, so this now is Bugatti's best chance to go for a move on Jake. but it looks like Jake's actually got a slightly better exit, or has he? He lost the back end a little bit. This is Bugatti's best chance all race to get past Jake, but as you can look at the straight line speed, it's ridiculous from Jake. If I was Bugatti, I'd be getting very annoyed at this, because you can catch in the corners, but when it comes to the straights, man's gone. So no doubt Bugatti will be getting very, very frustrated, because not only will he right behind Jake, but he's also got Hellboy and Edward or Lickle to contend with. But as you can see in this third sector, Bugatti actually gains quite a lot. So I mean, at this point, it's Bugatti's for the taking. He's Skeeman set another fastest lap. So I mean, this man is on the charge at the minute. 3.9 the gap. Louis, what is going on, lad? My God, I mean, he hasn't got wing damage, so I don't know why he isn't catching Skeeman, or maybe Skeeman's just too quick. Maybe Skeeman is the new Louis, who knows? But as we go back to this battle for full 5th and 6th place. All 4 of these guys I know are in the party together, and I know are going to be absolutely screaming at each other if one of them takes them out. And you see Bugatti there and Jake going very slow through turn 3. Will Bugatti go for a move? No, he doesn't. But can Bugatti get a better exit? He looks like he has. Jake goes defensive. He knows Bugatti got a better run. Bugatti's going to have to do this a long way round the outside. They touch a little bit. Jake pushes him out wide, and that's going to put Hellboy through now. So Hellboy, can he make the move on Bugatti? He has. So I don't know whether there was a little bit of teamwork there, but Hellboy is now through on Bugatti, and Edward is right behind this little battle. Let's go on board with Lickle Blocks and see what happens as both Ferraris now lead this little pack. So now it's theirs to lose, as we see Edward there getting very late on the brakes. Let's see Hellboy now. Let's see how Hellboy can compare to Jake's straight line speed, and Jake's still getting away from Hellboy, and Hellboy getting away from Bugatti. So this is their chance now to get away from this little group behind them. But as we know, Edward and Bugatti are very quick drivers, and Bugatti looks like he's going to go for a cheeky move on Hellboy, but just can't make it stick. I mean, this first sector is tight as it is, so I mean, to go for a move there would be a very, very costly. But Lewis is actually losing position, so it seems to be around this part of the track that drivers lose positions. We saw Bad Boy a couple laps ago lose positions, and now we're seeing Lewis do the same, as you've got Barry right behind, and Clifford's red as well. So we've got another little pack, and this is it. This is all for 9th place down to 13th, and then we've got Max and Dobby, who has, well, I think has actually left. So we've got Max still racing, so fair play to him. So we can't really say nothing bad about him, as this little battle now is starting to heat up between 13th to 9th place. Darren is the leader, but Bad Boy is catching, but he just won't be able to go for a move into turn 1. It's just too far back. As we go back up to the front, and Bugatti's actually side by side with Hellboy, I do believe. Hellboy defending the inside, and Bugatti off track again. Hellboy not really leaving Bugatti much room to come back on track there, so that's very bad from Hellboy. And there's Edward there going for a move. Hellboy, oh, they touch. Where's Bugatti? Bugatti's on the outside of this, so all 3 of these guys have to be very careful now. One false move and all of them are off track and in the wall, as Bugatti goes wide. So that's going to now allow Hellboy to go through, and that's now allowed Mohammed to catch up, as Bugatti gets a 3-second penalty. So let's go on board with Bugatti and see what Bugatti can do, as Bugatti gets a much better exit coming out of the second sector, well, coming into the end of the second sector. So let's see what he can do. Is Lickle Blocks catching on Hellboy? Will he go for a move? He doesn't. He hangs back, as Bugatti behind, or is that Mohammed actually fighting with Bugatti? Mohammed still down his inside. Mohammed can pull this off. It would be a very good move, but I do believe Bugatti keeps it, and Lickle Blocks is actually right behind Hellboy now, and all this battling has actually allowed Jake to get away from these guys. So I think the top 3 at this point pretty much sorted, so the battle will be now for 4th place until the pit stops. As Hellboy goes wide, that's going to allow Lickle Blocks to go through. Hellboy can't do nothing about it, but Hellboy looks like he's got a much better run off the last corner and has kept the position, as Bugatti is right behind Lickle Blocks. Let's see what Bugatti can do from behind these two. Clifford Red is in the pit, I do believe, for another set of intermediates, but I mean, Bugatti just can't gain. He's going to go for a move on Lickle. No, he's not. So Bugatti staying very true and being very clean, but that was very dangerous from Hellboy a couple laps ago, not allowing Bugatti on track. I mean, I thought that was the end of this race. as Nickel Blocks goes for a move on Hellboy. Hellboy defends very nicely there. So we're seeing hard but fair racing at the minute from these lot, but you'll see now that it's actually Bugatti who actually got a better exit. Mohammed as well. Mohammed, championship leader, do not count him out of this, because he still has a chance to potentially get a podium, as Lickle definitely looks quicker out of these three. It must be said, Hellboy looks like he's struggling a little bit on his tyres, and that has allowed Jake to get a 3-second lead. The Hellboy goes wide, so will Lickle go for a move? He doesn't, he waits, he wants to go for a move down this straight. Hellboy goes wide, Lickle will have the better run, but it looks like Hellboy's actually got a really good run coming down into the third sector now. So let's see what Lickle can do as he gains, but behind him, and you'll see Bugatti just running very high wings, and it's costing him so much in the straight line, and Hellboy goes very deep. That's going to allow Edward to have a very good run out of this corner here, where most people have been losing positions. Let's see what Hellboy can do. Well, I mean, Edward can't really do nothing there, but let's see if Lickle can manoeuvre this third sector and get a better run, as Lewis has lost another position at the same place as he did a couple laps ago. So Lewis not liking the third sector at Russia. As we go on board, back on board with this little battle. I do apologise, I haven't really been on with the leaders, but the gap between the leaders is massive at the minute, and this is the only battle on track. As we go with Lickle Blocks, let's go on broadcast. I want to get a nice view of this as they come down into turn 1. Hellboy defends a little bit, but not too much. Will Edward go for a move? No, but behind Mohammed on Bugatti. That's a terrible angle, I do apologise. Bugatti is forced wide, and Bugatti has to concede the place, so Bugatti losing places, and Lickle Blocks with a very good run into turn 3. Oh, he's lost the back end. Oh, he's managed to keep it as a very good save from Lickle Blocks there. He lost the back end and almost took Mohammed and Bugatti with him, but that's now allowed Bugatti to go around the outside of Mohammed. Can he make it stick? No, he can't, and Mohammed does keep the position. So these guys now all within a second of each other. Let's just hope these guys can keep it clean as Hellboy goes wide. Again, that's going to allow Lickle Blocks to close up. So, I mean, these guys seem to get away a little bit, then they just make silly mistakes, as we see Dobby's lagged out car there, and Hellboy goes wide again. But actually, I think him going wide there is actually allowing him to get a very good exit compared to Lickle Blocks, who takes a more tighter line into that corner as they come down into the third sector now. These guys are starting to sort of gap out a little bit. It's Bugatti, he's starting to fall behind now. So I do believe he tires, but Mohammed goes very wide and actually almost allows Bugatti through, and Bugatti actually has a much better run on Mohammed. Will he go for a move? Looks like he is. Mohammed will have to give him the space. Slight contact, I do believe, but Bugatti has to concede the place again to Mohammed, but it looks like he's got a much better run. But you can't really, he gets better runs when you can't really go for a move. So Bugatti's going to be annoyed at himself over this, but we go back to Lickle and Hellboy, and Lickle actually went for a move down into the last corner. That's going to cost him now on the straight, as Hellboy gets a much better exit, and Lewis has lost another forward position again to Barry. I do believe that is in the same spot. But as I said earlier, all this battling has actually allowed Jake, Louis and Skeven as well to get away. Mohammed makes the move on Lickle, so Mohammed behind in this trainer now. He's actually found himself in the middle of it, so fair play to him, as Hellboy looks like he's going very slow. Lickle is still there but has to back out because of what happened last lap. But Mohammed, as I said earlier, don't count him out of this race. He can still get a podium here, as Lickle is just not close enough to warrant a move, and now Mohammed will be the one to try and get past Hellboy. We've seen Hellboy defend aggressively in this race already. Will he just let Mohammed pass, or will he just keep their position and defend hard like we've seen already? Let's go on board with Bugatti now, down into the long straight at the end of sector 2. I mean, you can see Bugatti running very high wings there, just can't get close, and Darren is actually right behind Memo. So whether Memo's made a slight mistake, we don't know, but Darren might be able to get the move done on Mohammed going around the outside of Hellboy. Hellboy will have to give him the space. Oh, a slight contact, and oh, they touched. Oh, that's allowed. Now that's allowed Edward through and potentially Bugatti, but Hellboy said no to both of them. And Mohammed, again, hard but fair racing. I feel that was fair racing between them there, and does actually get the move done. So fair play to Mohammed. I said he was gonna get at least a podium standing, and now he has the chance. As we see now, Nickel Blocks right behind Hellboy. I'm just gonna quickly take a quick drink while this battle conspires, and I'll be back in a minute. As we come back to the action now, I saw Nickel Blocks tap the rear end of Hellboy and almost losing the car, but again managed to save it, so fair play to him, showing good car control in these slippery conditions, it must be said. But Mohammed is now starting to get away from Hellboy, who I said has been struggling the last couple of laps. Surprised that the likes of Edward and Bugatti haven't got past, but as I say that, Hellboy goes wide again. That will allow Nickel Blocks to go around the outside. Slight contact. Can Nickel get the run? I think Hellboy's got a better run this time again. So the two Ferrari drivers showing that they've got low wings and able to get better exits than the likes of Nickel and Bugatti, who I said at the start just hasn't got the straight line speed to compete with these guys. But in the corners he manages to stay with them. Ooh, a little bit of a look from Bugatti there as Edward goes wide, but that's now allowed Edward on the back of Hellboy. What can Nickel do now? Will he be able to get past? And will he be able to make the move on Hellboy? Pardon me, I do apologise. As you've seen now, these three have been together for the last couple laps. Do apologise again, sorry about that. Let's see now. What can Nickel do on lap 14 of 27? So we're over halfway through this race, and Skeevan still leads now by 5 seconds. So Skeevan doing very well in his debut. He said he wanted to win, and he's doing a very good job and showing why he's here as Max sets a fast lap of the race, and he's actually not that far behind Barry, so we could see a battle between Barry and Nickel. Round the outside, loses the back end again. He always lost it. Has he lost it? Oh yeah, he has. Oh wow. So Nickel losing the back end. That's now allowed Bugatti through, and how Bugatti didn't end up in Edward's rear end, I don't know, but fair play to Bugatti for avoiding a out of control Edward, who, as we saw a couple laps ago, was able to control the car, but this time just couldn't get to grips with it. So we might see Nickel in the pits this lap, but it's now Nickel's Bugatti's turn to see if he can get past Hellboy. And yeah, I agree, Racer, very lucky indeed. That could have ended horribly for both Bugatti, Hellboy and Nickel Blocks. So the fact that all these three are still still have a front wing and a front wheel, I'm quite surprised at. But these guys are starting to spread out a little bit now, as I do believe now comes the time. I do believe the rain stopped, so I do believe now, let's just quickly go on board with Hellboy. Yeah, the rain's actually stopped, so maybe now is the time where people are waiting for the truck to drive. But as we see, Skeevan still setting fastest laps on lap 15, so I wonder what his tyres have run at this point. He's showing incredible pace right now, and you know, fair play to the guy. If he can carry it on, then he'll no doubt win this race. But as I said, do not count Louis out. I've been told that it's going to dry up, so I mean, I don't know what Louis can do in the dry, but in the wet he's definitely not as quick as I thought he would be today. As we've got Jake in third, so Jake having a very solid performance there. Mohammed, championship leader as well, coming through the field, it must be said, in quite orderly fashion, but at times been very hard but fair racing. He finds himself in fourth place. Hellboy now in fifth, Bugatti in sixth, and Nickel in seventh, who, as we saw a couple laps ago, have a moment. Memo in eighth, Darren in ninth, and Bad Boy rounds up the top 10 with Lewis in 11th, and Barry, who's actually very close to Lewis. So we are actually going to go on board with this battle, and I do believe that is Max up into 12th, but just can't get the move done. Ooh, Barry taps Max. They go side by side. Barry doesn't really give him much space. Barry goes wide. That's now going to warrant Max their position to get on board with him. And yeah, Max has the position. So Max finding himself up, well, coming up the field now as he's on the back of Lewis now. But I think the best Max can do today is 11th place, because Lewis is a solid 13.5 seconds behind 10th place, which is bad boy. So let's see what Max can do here. As we know, Max is a very quick racer. As he goes down the inside of Lewis, again, not really, I don't know, I feel like people just aren't giving much space, and Max does get the move done. That's now going to put Lewis at a disadvantage to Barry, who, as we've seen, used to have been swapping positions every lap. But Barry does get the move done on Lewis, so that now promotes Barry up into 12th, and that puts Lewis all the way back down into 13th. So that's not good for Lewis there, who is a reserve at the minute. Skeevan picks up another penalty. He's got 6 seconds now, so if he wants to win this race, he's going to have to be very careful. I do believe Louis has none at this point, so at the moment a race win is going to Louis. So let's hope Skeevan can keep the penalties to a minimum now and bring it home, as Louis, yeah, gets a 3-second penalty. So the race now swings back into Skeevan's favour as Jake loses the back end. Yeah, I do believe now everyone's going to start losing the back end, as tyres are going to be a bit of an issue now. As you see there, Bugatti and Hellboy still very close on track, as Memo picks up a 3-second penalty. But Lickle just hasn't been able to close the gap again to Bugatti and Hellboy. So whether that little bit of a spin has heated up his tyres and just took the best out of him, I don't know, but he's going wide. So I mean, I understand why they're carrying on, but I mean, just look at it. I mean, he's going wide. Bugatti is right behind Hellboy now. So Hellboy, as I said, has been struggling for the last 5 laps, I'd say. So this is Bugatti's chance now. If he wants to get past, this is it. Can he get past? Hellboy gets a really bad run, and Bugatti is trying to go round down the inside of Hellboy. They're side by side, but as we know, Bugatti has terrible straight line speed. They're still side by side. What will Bugatti and Hellboy do? Will they be able to go side by side? And Hellboy shows his straight line speed, and Hellboy goes wide. That will allow Bugatti through. Will that allow Lickle through? He will go for the move here. I know Lickle, he will go for it. He does. And Hellboy just again closes the door on him and just doesn't really give space. So we've seen this from Hellboy a lot this race. Very hard defending, and at times just almost ended his race and the person's behind. As Lewis is out of the race, Lewis has lost it, and that's Barry as well. So there's been an incident between Barry and Lewis there. So both of them two have just come together, and Barry has unfortunately lost his ring and Lewis is out. But that will now promote Cliff Thread up into 13th place. As we go back on board with Lickle and Hellboy, as Bugatti is now starting to get away from Hellboy. So as I said, Hellboy's just really struggling at this point in the race. I think his tyres are shot, and you can see now the train starting to form with Hellboy. So you've got Hellboy in 6th, Lickle in 7th. Let's see Lickle, look, he's losing the back end again. He's lost it again. No, he hasn't. He's able to keep it. So Lickle, be careful, man. You don't want to retire, because if you retire, man, it's not good. As Lewis says, he went straight into me, so no doubt the stewards will have a very fun time reviewing that footage, as we now have Memo in 8th, Darren in 9th, Bad Boy in 10th. Not far behind this battle for 10th, so I do apologise, as Max picked up another time penalty, so Max out of the points now, I'd say. But let's not forget this battle. Bad Boy, Darren, Memo, Lickle and Hellboy. Lickle closes right up to the back of Hellboy there, but as we know, Hellboy gets a really good run out of that corner and is able to have really good straight line speed compared to everyone around him, apart from his teammate Jake. So whether these guys are running dry setups, we don't know, but I know one thing. I know that Lickle is going to be looking to make a move on Hellboy, because as you can see, Hellboy not really quick in his 3rd sector, so the low wings not really helping him here, but definitely helping Lickle close up to the back of Hellboy. You can see there, almost pushing him in this 3rd sector. When will these guys pit, of course? And Jake is the first to pit out of the leaders. This is crucial. He would have had to have got this right. What's he gone into? He's gone to a set of Ultra Softs. Is it time, or is he just pit because his tyres are dead? We don't know. We'll keep an eye on him as he'll come back out. He'll come back out in 10th. So that's a big drop. So we'll keep an eye on the gap that Jake has coming out of the pits. But let's quickly go back to this battle as Lickle all over the back of Hellboy now. We've seen Lickle lose the back end, and he's almost lost it again. He's having to counter steer again, and he's just losing so much time. He just can't get that corner right, and Hellboy going slightly wide into the corner, and yeah, I think Little's tyres. I think Jake pitted just because of tyres, but I'm going on board with Jake, and yeah, it's not time. No way is it time. I mean, I don't know. It's 2.5, so it's not time. Jake's bottled it, so that now promotes Bugatti. Mohammed has a strong chance of getting a podium here. And with Jake bottling it, you've got to say Mohammed's more or less settled the podium, as Bugatti has now sort of got fresh air. But as you see, Lickle and Hellboy going side by side. This normally ends in drama, so let's see what happens here. As Lickle will go round the outside. We've seen Hellboy go deep in the last couple of laps. Will he go deep again? No. Gets it perfect. Defends nicely from Edward there. But Lickle will have the run. Can he make the move on Hellboy? He'll go for the move here. He will. And again, hard but fair defended from Hellboy again there. So I don't know. I feel like Hellboy's defended very well, but also very hard at times. As you see, three cars behind there. That's Bad Boy, Darren, and Memo all fighting for 7th place. So don't forget these guys either. One small mistake up in front, and all three of these guys are back in it. Let's go on board with Bad Boy, as we will have the best view of this. And Bad Boy actually losing time on the straight, so he's running high wings as well. But it looks like he's actually gaining a lot now on Darren and Memo, as Bad Boy is going to go for the move down the inside into turn 1 on Darren. Side by side, push. Bad Boy pushes Darren wide, but Bad Boy gets a position. Very good move from Bad Boy there. He'll be looking now to get past Memo, who is actually dropping off Lickle, but Lickle not dropping off Hellboy at all in the slightest. So you've got to feel that Hellboy's just holding up Lickle at this point, as we've seen with Bugatti, who is now a solid 2.7 seconds ahead. So Hellboy definitely the slower out the group, and is actually defending pretty well this race, but as I said, hard at times. So no doubt he'll have a couple of reports through. Definitely one Bugatti, but as I said, hard but fair. And again, Hellboy going wide. I think everyone's tyres are just dead. As you see Jake now, he's struggling at this point, so he's out of this race for sure now. As we go on board with Lickle, and there's not really much gap. This is the closest battle on track, apart from the Darren battle, but I sort of want to stay with this battle because I know these two have had dramas on track in the past. But we will quickly go to Darren and Bad Boy, and Darren can't make the move. Let's quickly switch back to the Lickle and Hellboy battle, as Lickle closes up really well in this third sector, but just can't get a good exit or have really good straight line speed compared to Hellboy. And actually Hellboy looks like he's got a better run there. As we go further ahead, Bugatti and Dobby's a lagged car. I was only slow, as had damage ring. Oh, fair play to Lewis. As we look now to, I mean, gaps are sort of just under a second now. So I mean, the gaps are starting to form now as Darren pits as well. So is this the right time to pit? It is going to be a set of ultra softs for the Renault driver again. Is this the right time? We've seen with Jake, and DRS is enabled. So has Darren just timed that perfectly? How many places can the Renault driver gain, as Jake does manage to get him in the pit stops? But these guys will all come into the pit surely at the end of this lap, as Louis still 5.8, so keeping it between him and Skeven pretty close at the minute. But I mean, as we know, Skeven with 6 seconds and Louis with 3 seconds. Skeven does have this race on merit by at least 3 seconds, and Mohammed, well, I mean, he's 11 seconds behind Louis, so I think that alone just shows the pace of the front two. But Bugatti is a solid 9 seconds behind Mohammed, so the front four pretty spaced out. Then you actually have to go to Hellboy in 5th, Lickle 6th, Memo and Bad Boy all within a second or second and a half of each other. So you got to feel that maybe pit stops could be the difference here, as Skeven and Louis both pit. Now will Skeven get held in the pits? No, he won't. Wow, so Skeven's actually timed that very well, as he comes back out in the lead. Louis in the pits, Mohammed in the pits, Bugatti in the pits, Hellboy in the pits, Lickle in the pits. Everyone's pitting, so this is either going to make or break people's races, as Skeven comes out still in the lead, 5.7 the gap, and Lickle was actually jumped Hellboy in the pits. I do believe Hellboy down in 7th, so I do believe he got held up. Oh no, I do apologise, Hellboy had his pit stop before, as Jake actually is back up into 4th. Where's Mohammed? Mohammed's just there, so that's unlucky for Jake. He's done well to stay in 4th place, so no doubt he'll be happy with that. As Darren is now up into 6th, and Hellboy, Lickle, Memo, and Bad Boy both have lost out hugely there, as Darren is now up into 6th place. So I don't know whether Darren pitted a lap before all these guys, and I mean you can see the time he's gained, so fair play to Darren, he's timed it perfect. So let's hope he can maybe even catch Bugatti and Jake. I mean, I'm more surprised at Jake still being in 4th, but you know, fair play to him. He obviously, I mean, he got it wrong in terms of strategy, but oh well, he's now out in 4th, so fair play to him. And the gap between 1st, 2nd and 3rd more or less the same, 5.7, so Louis actually able to catch a little bit, but no doubt Skeven will be the one to watch in these conditions, as in the dry I do believe it was Memo who was actually the quickest, so Memo's all the way in 9th as well, so no doubt he'll be looking to make up places, as we have not really much going on at the minute. We've got Bad Boy and Memo close, but other than that, not really much battling going on, as Hellboy and Lickle sort of separate a little bit, which is good. We don't need any more dramas on track. And Bad Boy, Memo's in the war. I don't know whether that might have been Bad Boy. Memo himself binned it, but Memo's going to be very disappointed in that. And that is now going to allow Maxi Luca to come into the points. So fair play to Max. I said that, you know, if I was him, I would have retired at the start, but he finds himself in 10th place, as Memo misses the pits, but he does make it. So again, Max now up into 10th place. Fair play to Max. He's now got 7.8 seconds now to catch, and Memo does retire in the pit. So Memo obviously feeling that he won't be able to come back, which is fair play. With 5 laps left, you can't really come back with 5 laps to go. But look at the gap at the top. Louis actually catching. So Skeven in these dry conditions or damp conditions just can't find his feet, as Louis now starting to close, and Mohammed sort of keeping the gap the same to Louis, but the gap I want to see is this Hellboy Lickle one. Again, they're starting to close up to each other, and I do believe Lickle is the sort of more confident driver in these conditions. Let's just hope. Oh, Hellboy goes wide, very wide in fact. That's going to allow Lickle to have a very good run coming into the end of Sector 2. I do believe DRS has been enabled, so we will see the effect of DRS with Lickle as his wing opens. Let's see what Hellboy does. Hellboy defends the outside surprisingly, so Lickle's going to go for a move. Hellboy again. Jesus. I do apologise for that. As we see now, Lickle right behind Hellboy, just can't get the move done, but will he be able to get it done into turn 1? As we see the effect of DRS again with Lickle, can he get the move done on Hellboy? He's gaining, but just can't get the move done. So Hellboy running really good wings, and the gap between Skeven and Louis 4.7, so Louis much quicker driver in these conditions, and all Skeven needs to do is finish with a 3-second gap. That's what he's got to do. So yeah, I mean, race, I do agree, these two have been known to get very close on track, and you can see again Lickle and Hellboy are getting very close, and every time they've been close on track, it's been very close racing between the two of them. So I mean, Lickle right behind Hellboy now. What will Hellboy do? He won't be able to defend surely, as Lickle is very, look how confident he is, as Lickle tries to go around the outside. Hellboy cuts the corner, Lickle's through. What a move! Oh! Ooh, that was very close, but I do believe Lickle has got the move done now on Hellboy. But if I know Hellboy, I'm going on board with Hellboy, because I know what Hellboy's going to do. He's going for a dive bomb. Oh, but Lickle sees it off. So Lickle with a very good move there. You've got to be honest with him. Good move from the lad. With Bugatti now right behind Jake. So let's see what Bugatti can do in these conditions. We saw with Bugatti straight line speed it was a problem without DRS. Let's see what he can do with DRS as we go on board with Bugatti now. 3 laps remaining now. The gap sort of stabilising between Louis and Skeven at 4.5. It's all good for Skeven. All he's got to do is finish 3 seconds ahead and he's won the race. As Bugatti just still can't close. So we will go back to the Hellboy and Lickle battle, but Hellboy again just can't get close. But yeah, I mean, again, that move from Edwards was actually really good. So again, fair play to him, really good move. But Bugatti all over the back end of Jake in these dry conditions. We've sort of seen the opposite. We've seen the likes of Hellboy and Jake sort of not really been on it, and then we've seen Jake, even Darren find himself into 6th place. Fair play to him. But again, Jake getting harassed now by Bugatti. Jake's going to defend, but Bugatti down the inside. That's going to cost Bugatti now on exit. And as we know, Jake has a very good straight line speed. And you can see there, I mean, Bugatti has DRS, but just can't catch. So I don't know what wings Bugatti's running. Maybe higher, who knows. But we will see what happens. As Bugatti gets very close in his 3rd sector, you can tell the wing difference in the 3rd sector between these two. Bugatti should be, if he can get a good exit from the last corner, he should be able to make a move surely on Jake. If he doesn't, I'll be very surprised if Bugatti goes wide on entry to get that run. Looks like he's finally got that run he wants. Can he make a move down into turn 1? But you can see Jake forever gaining down into DRS now. Can Bugatti gain on Jake? I do believe Jake's actually getting away, so if Bugatti's going to make this move, it's going to have to be soon, as Bugatti is going to try to go down his inside into turn 3. It's very risky from Bugatti. Oh, they keep it very clean and very close from these two, but Bugatti looks like he's actually got a much better run than Jake. Will Bugatti go for a move? He does, very late. Taps Jake's side pod there, but manages to keep the position from Bugatti. So Bugatti now harassing Jake's back end. What can Bugatti get the move done? I mean, he's all over his back end. Let's see what Bugatti can do. Oh, he's got a much better run this time. That's the run he wanted. Now he's got DRS. Now he can actually maybe even go for a move. But I mean, look at Jake's straight line speed. It's ridiculous. Will Bugatti go for a move? Oh, slight contact. No wing. I thought that was wing damage, but it wasn't. So these two continue to battle, and Bugatti goes for a move. Jake has had to give him space there, but Bugatti will get the run coming into the last couple of corners. They're side by side. Jake will have to give him the space on the inside. Ooh, very clean racing from these two, it has to be said. And Bugatti gets a move done, but he's sort of doomed himself here, because you'll see now Jake's straight line speed. You'll see it. He's forever gaining, and this is what Bugatti should have been like. I do apologise. And look, yeah, just breezes past him. So Bugatti now has it all to do again. But as we look at the front, 3.9 the gap to the leaders, and Bugatti looks like he's going past Jake down the inside, or around the outside should I say, but Jake is still there. They push each other wide. Very clean racing from these two. Hard but fair again from these two. As Bugatti goes around the outside, Jake pushes him wide, but these two are still side by side. Still side by side. A little bit of a corner cut. Bugatti goes wide, very wide. Ooh. Well, yeah, Bugatti would have to give that up. So, yeah, Jake regains the position. So, fair play. Let's see if Bugatti can gain down this straight. But I don't think he can. I mean, he's gaining a little bit, but not by much. No idea, racer. I'm going to ask him after the race, don't worry. But yeah, the gap between these two, 3.8, so Skeven has an 8/10 advantage as we go on to the last lap. Louis has to pull it into Rich, and he is. So this is now Louis' last chance to pick up a win in FF1. Mohammed has got third. Oh, and JD and Bugatti finally make contact. I didn't actually catch that. But Darren now is all over the back of both of them. Let's get this from Darren's point of view. Let's see what happens down in turn 1. You can see Jake straight line speed already, just pulling him along. But as we see there with Darren as well, Darren's going to try to go around the outside down into turn 1. As Bugatti goes a little bit, oh, they touch. Darren has to give the place. If I was down, I would have went down the inside, and Nickel as well. And Bad Boy's actually overtaken Hellboy. So Hellboy's actually dropped off massively in these conditions. But as you can see, it's still Bugatti harassing Jake on this last lap. I do apologise, I haven't really been on with Skeven at all. But Bugatti looks like he's made the move, and Darren is there. Darren is there. I'm going to quickly go on board to Skeven, who looks like he has won this race. So fair play to Skeven, he's shown his pace in his first race, debut for FF1, so congrats to him. No doubt he'll be very happy with his win. Louis will be very happy with second, and Mohammed with third. But I'm going to go back to this battle between Jake, Darren, and now Little Blocks. Is Darren, what can he do in a straight line? He still can't match Jake in a straight line, as Bugatti is very slow in a straight line. But again, he's just been lucky there, as Louis Louis actually won. Skeven must have got another time penalty then, so fair play to Louis then. Skeven unlucky with that. Mohammed gets third. Edward pushing Darren wide, gets the move done. Again, I missed that. So Bugatti will come home in fourth. Jake in fifth, Lickle in sixth. Darren, who I do believe hasn't got any time penalties, yeah, Darren moves up to fifth. So fair play. Bad Boy in sixth. Lickle's been pushed down to seventh. So Darren picking up a very solid fifth place there at the end, and Max will come home to finish in 10th place and pick up the final point as we wait for Clifford's Red and Barry to cross the line. What a thrilling race from start to finish. Everywhere, I was told this is why this league should have been streamed earlier, as Barry there drifts around the third sector. He's in the wall. Come on, Barry, putting on a show for the people watching. Fair play. What a race though. Darren getting 5th place. Fair play to him. Very good race from him. Bad Boy coming up to 6th as well, so very good from him. Time penalties costing Lickle there at the end. But no doubt Louis will be one happy man with Skeven picking up so many time penalties. I told you time penalties would decide the race, and it has. Unfortunately for Skeven, who just time penalties again, just wasn't able to keep them down, and Louis proving that getting 1 or 2 penalties is the key to winning around Russia, and he will collect the 25 points and the race win, as we do come now to the podium celebration as Louis celebrates Skeven in second and Mohammed in third. So good showing for my championship leader there. What did you say, race at the start? Oh yeah, about Louis. Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't catch, but it's just time penalties. So fair play to Louis, who picks up the win, and Skeven did have 9 seconds. So that's unfortunate for Skeven there. Mohammed in third. Jake coming up to 4th, so fair play to him. Darren from 12th to 5th, definitely a contender for driver of the day in my opinion. Bad Boy in 6th, Lickle in 7th, Bad Boy in 8th, Bugatti in 9th, and Maxi Luca rounds up the top 10 with Clifford's Red, Barry, and all the rest have DNF'd. Now, I don't know whether I'm possibly not going to do podium interviews, but I don't know, I'll have to see. But yeah, again, that was a very good race. This is why I said this race needed to be streamed, and hopefully the people watching enjoyed it. My driver of the day personally is Darren, coming from 12th to finish 5th. Very good from him. But yeah, that's been FF1 race 4. So I don't know what the next track is because it is a random calendar, but no doubt we will see you next week, same place, same time. Hope you all tune in. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.